Yeah, it's another Tuesday, and welcome to the show. To our viewers at home and those following on Facebook, I'm sure many of you are surprised with today's arrangement. So today I'll be the host, and I think this is more of just getting myself ready because Vicky will be away mid December, to take a well-deserved break. And during that period, I'll be the host, or, I'll be hosting the program. So for today, I'm the host, and Vicky will be part of the panel. And I hope very soon, uh, our big brother from Nigeria, Mr. Yemi Shodimu, will also join us on the program. Uh, Vicky, how have you been? It's been a week now.
Yeah, it's been a week. It's been a week. Yeah, it's been quiet. It's summer now, officially summer here in
Summer? Yep.
Melbourne. So yeah, just getting back to living life,
Uh,
my my husband and I, we actually went for a movie last Saturday.
last
It was
Saturday.
great, it made me to realize that we do take things for granted,
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
until there's a threat of losing what you have. The, I mean, this year we haven't been able to go to the movies. So having to walk in, we don't
And
have to book, we just pay for the ticket and walked in and
yeah,
having sit. It was just so beautiful for the first time in 2020.
in 2020. Yeah,
So it
I
made me
also,
appreciate it. Yeah,
yeah, and I know you love the holidays. And
I do.
obviously, COVID has not really allowed you to have your travels around the globe. Uh,
Oh,
for me as well, on I think on Sunday evening, so we went out for a kind of family dinner. We haven't had that for at least last time, the first time this year, actually,
wow.
that we went out for family dinner. So that was really good.
Mm,
So in terms of our discussion for today, we'll be focusing on security and also on education reforms in Nigeria.
mm,
I know there's a lot to talk about,
always.
especially considering the recent um, security issues in Nigeria.
Mm.
Before we go further, what are your reflections from our discussion last Tuesday? Any updates or anything that you would like to reflect on, or anything you would like to share? Since our last show.
From our last show, we talked about the update and everything, which was good. But one thing that really, really shocked me, and I'm still kind of in shock, was towards the end when you talked about the statistics and you compare the education um,
The, the,
numbers,
yeah,
comparing it
yeah, the literacy rate between Nigeria and South Africa.
and
Yeah.
South Africa. Honestly, I'm still kind of shocked about that.
Have,
Because
have you have
I
you
really,
have you fact checked me? You can do a fact check, and
you
you
know
can
what?
really.
I don't have to fact check you because I know if I'm looking for genuine, I'll go to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Your 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 source is a trusted one.
Yep.
That's just the word.
Yeah.
And there's no point. There's no reason for me to go and fact check it.
Yeah.
But
That's
I'm
fine.
just like I was dumbfounded that what South Africa, because I lived
Okay.
in South Africa
Okay.
and I think maybe when we used to live in South Africa, the belief or the um, the feelings that I had moving from Nigeria to live in South Africa, thinking that Nigeria was the best, Nigeria was more educated. So I didn't really get myself to that point that I could watch and understand their system, though I
Okay.
lived there for 6 years.
Oh, 6 years.
So that was why I was quite shocked to hear the report, to get to hear the report from you, that how did that happen? What is going on with us in Nigeria? And that is one of the reasons why I believe talking about what we do right now and how it's impacting on the output, the outcome, and yeah, which was why I just said let's get
Ye-
into it and talk
Yes,
about it.
yeah. You'll be surprised if you know our way of this. You know, for some of our nurses that are trained in Australia, you'll be surprised to know that currently they need to do English test, which is basic. They do
Yeah.
English test before they can be registered to practice.
Mm. Not even
My
not just the nurses alone, doctors also.
Yeah, so my wife went through this. She went through her uni education here to do nursing and all that. And after she got her qualification, she had to go through this test of language and all that. Initially, we asked for exemption because we said, look, Nigeria is a Commonwealth nation. We did all our education in English. She has done previous tertiary education before we came here. And then we also argue that, look, the current degree for nursing, she did it here in Australia. English was the language of instruction through that
And
degree program. So why are you now asking her again to do test of English? But at the end of the day, it was a waste of time. She had to do it. But South Africa, as at that time, unless something has changed,
they were
South,
exempted.
they were exempted. So again, to me, that proved a point in terms of whatever way they locate. South Africa is the only African country, not on that list. Most other countries, they are, Western nations, but South Africa is the only African countries on that list. And I was equally surprised as well that, coming from Nigeria and our exposure to education and English, I thought that we shouldn't be, you know, um, you know, that we should be accepted. But
Exactly.
uh,
And that point that you raised about your wife that studied here, and
yeah,
despite the fact that she did 3, 4 years, I think 4 years of nursing degree here in Australia, not in
yeah,
Nigeria, not anywhere else here.
yeah,
And she went through their university,
that's
and
correct.
it still asked her
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
write the English, because if she didn't, what would have happened? She wouldn't be able to get a full registration as a
No, she won't be
nurse.
able. She won't be able to register at all. She
She
had to.
won't be
It
able
was
to
part.
practice
Yeah, it was part of
because
the
I
APRA.
yeah,
It
I
was.
know of I think two of them that actually did the same. And it was quite discerning that after all these years of studying, I mean, they had to. One actually failed it a few times, and she just had to keep going. Another guy, also a doctor, he did
Yeah,
it 12 times, I believe,
yeah.
before he was able to pass. And to me, I see that as a money making
I
exercise for
to to
Australian.
to a large degree, I share that sentiment as well. That look, um, the argument for people that studied outside Australia. Let's even, for argument's sake, agree that the level of, I guess, compression of English and whatever. But for anyone that went through, I guess, a university system here that did all exams, tests, whatever, here
Mm,
under that same university, and got issued a certificate. And after all that, you're asking that person again to do, is just, to me, is a kind of an indictment on their own system. You are like, okay, we train you here, you qualify here, but we still don't think you understand English enough to practice here. I saw that, that strange kind of arrangement. But
exactly. That's not
yeah,
right.
but yeah. So moving on.
Mm,
one of the most important thing, I know you also following events in terms of recent Boko Haram attack in a place called Sabamari, which is about 20 kilometers away from Maiduguri in Borno
Okay.
State.
Mm,
That happened at the weekend, and initially local reports indicated that 43 farmers were killed by the terrorists. But in recent days, the number has grown significantly.
wow.
As today, when I checked, they're reporting about 110 people,
Wow.
died through that terrorist attack. And yeah, so there have been lots of comments from government and government spokesperson, which we get into later. But
Mm,
going through before I came in, to the show this evening, I was going through some news online, and in 2015, in December 2015, during an interview with BBC, President Buhari said, and I'm just directly quoting him what he said, technically we have won the war. So he was
oh.
referring to that. That was in 2015, in December, almost about 5 years ago. That technically, Nigeria has won that battle. What do you think when you look back, 5 years later, with all these happenings around terrorists, kidnapping, and all that? What are your thoughts?
My thought,
Do you think Nigeria has won the war against Boko Haram?
absolutely not. Absolutely not. What has changed actually when you look back? What has changed since Buhari got there? I was thinking about it over the weekend. That now let's take out emotions. Let's take out anything else. Let's just focus on facts. Let's look at facts. All right. What has changed? What has it done differently from good luck,
Yeah,
from
good.
Obasanjo, from whomever else? What has it done differently? Instead of things to even get better, they are getting worse. And yes, in the first few couple of years when it got there, I mean, I was one of the people, and I believe you were too. A few
I
months after
was.
it got there, we were kind of blaming good luck. We were blaming the previous government, thinking, yeah, they stole all the money, they did this, they did that. But what my angst is that okay, those people did what they did. Now you put your hands up to say, yes, I can fix all these problems. I can build refineries, like uh, is it like for a year or whatever
No,
is
he's gonna build one every year.
one
So
every year.
for the first time, he promised to build four refineries.
Exactly. And has he built any? Was it a week ago that they made a deal with Niger
That's correct. Yeah,
to be? I mean, isn't that crazy? And so many other crazy things apart from the inner fight between him and his wife and other things going on. What has it done for the country actually?
talking about the need for a new Nigeria and the Nigeria we want, I think is you raised a very important question. Like you said, prior to 2014, that 15 election, I actually campaigned, vigorously for President Buhari. I was part of the change agents, you
Mm,
know, campaigning and pushing his ideas and everything about the need for us to change from that. The level of profligacy under, yeah, Jonathan's government, though, but with the current situation in the country, it's quite strange that people are now looking back to Jonathan's government and like
exactly.
making that comparing the two and say even it's for me as a major critic of good luck because I felt that he had the opportunity to be a two-term president after
mm,
he inherited 2 years from his boss that passed, Yadua, and
mm,
then in 2011 he was elected. He got his own mandates, from 2011 to 2015. I
mm.
felt that as a minority from Niger Delta and all that goodwill that he had from Nigerian people, I felt that if he had managed that goodwill very well, a
Yeah.
Buhari wouldn't have defeated him in 2015.
Mm,
But that's a different story. That is democracy. He lost and he did all he had to do, humbly, and then handed over to Buhari and APC
mm.
with that promise of change. But what have they really delivered in terms of security? Most importantly, uh, uh, I'm talking about that security. President Buhari described the Saturday's incident where rice farmers were killed. He described it as insane. He described it as insane. And then I will, make I refer to an insensitive comments made
From
by President Buhari's spokesperson, one
mm,
Garba Shehu.
all right.
So Garba Shehu is actually the summary of the whole thing is that he's blaming the victims for returning to the rice farms without getting clearance from the military. So he granted an interview to BBC, and pretty much
Mm,
all he said was that they shouldn't have returned to the farm without, getting clearance from military because, based on his argument, most of those areas, are not safe and they needed clearance. But I will quote him from that interview when he
mm.
said, that is a presidential spokesperson, Garba Shehu. He said, the truth has to be said. Is there any clearance by the military, which is the total control of those areas, which is in total control of those areas? Did anybody ask to resume activities? I have been told by the military I'll be told by military leaders that they have not been so advised. So pretty much all he said. So as as a person that is very conversant with media, as a person that you have your own show, a communicator, a social media person, and also with your background, as an educator. What are your thoughts when you see a presidential spokesperson making a comments like this, especially considering the time? What are your thoughts in terms of how insensitive?
Totally
Um,
insensitive. And I believe these people, they just don't care. They don't care. They're there for their own personal gain. They don't care about people. They don't care about, the masses. They don't care about their welfare, which is the reason why things are getting worse and
yep,
getting bad, because they are not doing their part. How can a spokesperson come out and start blaming the victims? Why can't they go and do their farming, without the fear of being attacked? Why can't they go and find a means of livelihood? Why can't they do that without somebody, and their group breathing down their throat and killing them? These poor people are just looking for means of, feeding their family members.
that's correct. That's
I
correct.
mean, for you now, as a spokesperson, if you have nothing good to say at all, just keep your mouth shut. But for them to, I mean, the fact that Buhari could even come out and say something, it happened only the weekend, right?
On the
And
weekend, yeah.
he got up to talk. That is strange to me because it took him how long to talk when those young people were killed, were massacred, not even killed. were massacred a few weeks ago. So it happened only last weekend, and it's
Yeah,
already got up to 12.
yeah, yeah,
That is strange.
yeah.
And why
So
would
yeah,
we talk? I mean, so when you things like that do make people to start questioning, why are we still doing together?
look, there are a lot of questions that there are more questions than answers. Um, and when he actually, as you said, I was also surprised that he came out that so early to respond. But if you look at the substance in his statements, is still talking about is all our responsibility for security and securing our communities. And obviously, we are very
So what?
religious people talking about prayers and all that. And
Mm,
you know, um, but the key issue around taking responsibility that at the end of the day, he is the commander in chief of the armed forces, and
mm,
his topmost job is to secure life and property of in Nigeria as number one, as the president and the commander in chief of the armed forces.
exactly.
But he hasn't
Mm,
done that. And if you remember, same prior to 2015 election, APC, Buhari and Osinbajo and the rest, they were actually by this time, 2014 going to 2015 before the election, they were actually telling President Jonathan at the time, to resign because of the level of
of
insecurity,
insecurity. And it
insecurity
wasn't
in the
bad. It wasn't that time, it was bad. But now, I don't know the word to even use for it because it's so bad. It is so bad now
yeah,
that
because it's so brazen, the level of the attacks, the
mm,
apart from the terrorist, attack, the level of insecurity, kidnapping, and everything going on in the country. I would think that, as you said, is worse than what we had, at that time when he and his APC members were clamoring for Jonathan, were like advising him to honorably to resign. But they are
resign.
not they are not taking that advice now. So the table has
Mm,
turned, but they are not ready. They are not ready to take that up because people are actually telling it again, and with social media, people are bringing back all those, calls and
promises.
interviews and everything,
Mm,
and asking to do the
mm,
to do the needful. Um, Look, there are a few things that I think maybe we can also, in terms of that Sabamari massacre. I'm sure, unfortunately, we have to get used to that name. It's gonna be there for a long time.
mm.
Sabamari. The United Nations actually responded to that, and the United Nations said that is the most violent attack targeted at civilians in 2020. So that's the way the United Nations responded to that attack. That is the most violent attack targeted at civilians in
Mm.
2020. Um, so what do you think is the way forward? In terms of what do you think, if you are in a position to advise the president on this issue? I know you are not a counter terrorism expert, but but from your global, I mean, as a global citizen, and what are your immediate thoughts?
My immediate thought is the security of the country is not is the responsibility of the leaders of that country. There are so many things that are wrong. So I don't think advising the president is a thing because he knows what he's supposed to do. But what they're supposed to do, they are not doing it because they've used the money for themselves, right? So now, my advice will go to individuals.
Okay.
For us all, each person to be armed.
Wow.
It is a brazen call, but that would be my advice to everyone. South Africa. South Africa, there's guns everywhere. Almost everyone owns a gun, right? That is why if you don't know what that person has, so going to that person's house to go and do whatever, you may be the one coming out injured. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I know.
So
Yeah.
Nigerians, and that if you've watched South African movies or you've listened to them, they don't fear death. Death to them is just like, maybe because of apartheid,
Yeah,
they've
I was.
actually
Yeah.
embraced death. They don't fear death. So if you in Nigeria, we are so scared of dying, and the government knows it. The Boko Haram people knows it. The thieves, the armed robbers, they know it. So they bring gun. You have gun. Won't they chill? Because then
It,
they don't know what you've got at home.
it's a good deterrence because it's just like when you talk international politics and you talk about two nations that are nuclear powers. When they deal
Mm.
with each other, they deal with, like, a good example is
With
Pakistan.
respect. Exactly.
Pakistan and India.
India.
They
Mm.
are both nuclear powers. They've had their issues
Mm.
over the years, but they both are where he's got it, I've got it. So they will do initial,
They'll do
fight,
the
but they
diplomacy.
know but at the end of the day, they use diplomacy to settle their differences
Mm.
because they know
Mm.
that it's got what I've got. So we got to
Exactly.
must be a middle. There must be a middle ground. Look,
We
as
can see, Wale, we can
yeah,
see that our government, they failed us again and again and again. How are we going to keep waiting for them to do the right thing?
is
Why do we, I mean, Albert Einstein said it. It's insanity when you keep doing the same thing and you keep doing it the same way and you're expecting different results.
mm,
It's insanity.
it
We've
is.
been doing it since I was a little girl, since my father and my mother were younger. It's been the same way of doing all these things. Why are we not getting better result? Because we keep doing it that same way. Something needs to change. This government and the one before, they've they failed us, and they failed woefully. What do we need to do? If each and every one of us in each household, we know how to use guns, we know how to protect ourselves, even the government will be scared. They
Yeah,
will be
because
scared because all the money, I mean, when each senator, you know how much they say they take home every single month? It's crazy.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then we have a country that looks like that. We have a country that we cannot move from Ilefe to Ibadan without fear of what's going to happen on the way. You know, and these people, they're so brazen. They just take all the money, they disappear with it, they go and spend it and use it and do nothing for our country people. If they are stealing all the money, as they've been stealing, if they now use it to establish businesses, companies, instead of taking it to Swiss bank and putting it in Swiss bank, where those people are using the interest that they are gaining for whatever money is there to build their own country. If these people if they can be so wise to think, okay, yes, we have this money, it's their money, but let's use it to give them something. I'll still get some money back,
Yeah.
but uh, we'll put
They
it
still
back into the
provide they
community.
still provide
Exactly.
jobs for
Provide
young
jobs
graduates
for
coming
them.
out, for high school
Yeah,
leavers who are not in position to go to to further their
exactly.
education.
Yeah.
They can go and work in well, like here you see kids working in McDonald's after
Mm,
high school or even before they complete high school, or KFC. to gain some of
Exactly.
those initial work experience.
Mm,
And yeah, yeah, it is a very valid argument that rather than putting that money away in installing in bank accounts in Swiss banks and other foreign lands,
other places, yeah.
at least we could argue that we're not encouraging stealing, but at least if you even use that money to develop your country and create jobs, maybe we can even to some degree, begin to have some level of appreciation. At least you're doing something. As it is
Mm,
now, they don't care. And again, everyone is talking about 2023. Look, apart from the euphoria of NSAGs and everything, we don't have Prosper, and David here tonight to share their perspective with
okay.
us.
Mm,
Um, but I think, we need to more strategic. And the way I'm looking at it is that the momentum gradually is dying. They were very
yeah.
fearful when the whole thing happened in October, but now the shock to the system, the equilibrium is getting back. It has been restored, if I may put it that way, and they don't really feel anything. And I think that they
Mm,
know Nigerians and they know our psyche. We talk about things and then, put it aside, and then 2023
move
will
on.
come, you see the same Atiku Abubakar getting ticket from PDP, or
The same thing.
or
The
the
same thing.
or someone else also. I don't want to really mention
Mm,
name now who will get that ticket from APC, and the same old people fighting each other. So my call is that beyond all the rhetoric about answers and what has happened, I would think that people need to be more proactive and more pragmatic and be more strategic in terms of nothing is going to change in 2023 if we don't start what we need to
it's
do now. Nothing is going to change,
exactly.
unfortunately.
Mm,
Nothing is
mm,
going to change. One other thing on security before we move to
education.
education.
Mm,
Um, Again, this security, and I'm talking about this because of my area of criminal justice and what to do. There was one of the major uh, my my major observation around the way government has responded to uh, Boko Haram is they come out with this anti-radicalization kind of program
mm.
whereby terrorists that were arrested or that surrendered, instead of putting them through the criminal justice system, they are giving this kind of taken to a kind of rehabilitation center, and then they
And
spend
where
some
is the
months there.
rehabilitation center?
These up there in the north. I'm not exactly sure exactly which state.
But I
Uh,
heard that they are being taken overseas. I even
as far
saw I even saw a picture of when they were being taken to can't remember where they
Okay,
were taking them. They've been given scholarship. Some of them were
maybe
given scholarship
okay, yeah.
overseas.
There's a possibility they have different phases whereby there's a local one where some of them they do their rehabilitation, and then maybe another part of it involves giving them foreign scholarship. Um, as a criminal justice practitioner, what I know about how the criminal justice system works is this, and you can add your own points. Essentially the criminal justice system is designed for four major things. There's what we call retribution.
Mhm.
So if you committed a crime against a person or you committed a crime against the state, criminal justice recognizes that you should be punished for what you've done. So that is the retribution part of it. It is a very fundamental element in criminal justice anywhere in the world.
Mhm.
There's what we call incapacitation. Incapacitation is that a person that has committed an offense, a criminal offense, that is locked up for 10 years, 5 years, depending on the severity of the offending. When that person is in prison, the person has been incapacitated from committing further crime because it's been locked up and it's been taken away
Mhm.
from the
From the
society,
society.
from the
Hmm.
society. There's the there's the deterrence part of it. The deterrence
Mm.
part of it is that the law, the criminal justice system makes example of that person. So in that deterrence, we have two types. There's what we call uh, specific deterrence, which is that deterrence to that person. That, okay, this is what you've done. This is what you get for what you've done. You lock you up for 20 years. You might be granted parole if you behave very well. You might be granted
Hmm.
parole after 17 years, but you're going to do your 17 years in jail before you get out. So that is a specific deterrence to that person not to do it again. And there's also general deterrence. The general deterrence is about when they talk about it on the news, in the newspaper, that also person, the one terrorist was jailed and sentenced to 30 years in jail. The
Hmm.
system is sending a message to the
To
general public
others. Yeah.
that
Hmm.
if that's what you think or you're planning to organize
Want to
terrorist
do something
attack,
like that.
if you do that, you're
Mm.
going to spend the rest of the rest of your life in jail. Just think about it.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then the last part is that obviously most offenders or criminals, they would do their sentences and come back and live in the community. That is the rehabilitation part of it.
Rehabilitation.
The
Yeah.
rehabilitation part of it, being rehabilitated and return with the hope they will come back. But what I found very strange with the arrangement with the Boko Harams that have been captured is that, as far as I can tell, the other aspect of the criminal justice system, the government completely ignore all those areas.
Ignored.
They just
Mm.
move straight to rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation, I want to
And
send
why
someone
do you
that is.
think why do you think that is the case? Because we're in democracy, isn't it? And in Nigeria, if you kill someone, what happens? All right? Terrorists shouldn't get a free ticket to be able to go overseas and get scholarship, as far as I'm concerned. Why would they ignore the first three, retribution, incapacitation, and deterrence, and just
Yep,
move straight to
to
rehabilitation?
rehabilitation. Yep.
Is it
It's
because of where they come from? They are not the Boko Haram people. When you look at the ethnicity, where are they from, really?
I think one of the major criticism of this government is that despite all deniers, there's a lot of lopsidedness
Of
around
course.
the differential treatment of ethnic groups in Nigeria, and that is obvious in terms of government appointments in key security and
Mm,
in key positions, in the ministries and what have you. There's that high level of lopsidedness that people begin to think that, look, I don't really have the answer around why they've, really, for whatever reason, they're treating people that are really criminals. And we are not just talking about criminals that is hungry and went to the neighbor's house to steal a goat. We're talking
mm,
about people that fundamentally terrorism is driven by an ideology. That ideology is very core to what they do.
exactly.
And as far as I know, I don't think that people do an anti-radicalization program within some months. Even people that are real terrorists that are locked up in advanced countries that are doing time for terrorism, they put them through that same anti-radicalization program. But when they put them through that, they is part of their rehabilitation while they are in prison. They are not excusing them and give them any speedy kind of anything. They do, if they are doing their 20 years sentence, they're not going to start any program. They do it gradually until towards the end of their sentence. So I quite agree
Mm,
with you. I don't know why, for whatever reason, I can't recall any of these Boko Haram has been sentenced to 20 years in jail or 30 years in jail. And then if they want to rehabilitate, if you're going to spend 30 years in jail, it's got enough time to do rehabilitation program before they are released back into the community. So I think what is happening now is that they do their rehabilitation program, send them back into the community, and within some months they go back to the to the
they
to
go
the
back because
to
that's
the
all
go
they've
back.
always known. And, you know, because they were caught, that doesn't, they were caught. It's not because they come to say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if this is what I've always known and this is what I've always done, if you catch me, I may just say whatever to get you to let me go easily, right? But that doesn't mean that I've changed my mind.
No way.
And that is
Because
why it's quite dangerous what the government is doing. Because it's like they are letting loose dogs. They are letting loose
like mad, real
mad
mad
dogs.
dogs. Yeah.
You know, if you've done something wrong and you apologize
Hmm.
and you are, you do whatever you can to prove that you've changed, that's one thing. But these guys were caught in the act, and then the government is saying, you've done well, we won't kill you, we won't put you in jail, we'll fly you overseas. And yeah, just, go and study. What are you saying to the victims? Those people that lost everything, those people that lost their family members.
Yes.
What are you saying? That's what I'm talking about. The government has failed us again and again. And it has to stop, because if if we're just waiting for them to do the right thing, it's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah, look, as we discuss on this program, we talk about, what the issues are, the problems are, and we try to profile some solutions to to
Mm,
some of the identified issues. One of the few solutions we are profiling is that the need for them to return to the basis of criminal justice system and how it works.
exactly. Mm,
That they need to do the right thing by the citizens and by the victim, and someone that has committed that kind of level of crime against the society, they should have their retribution given to them. And
definitely.
they can also be rehabilitated. If you're going to be in jail for 30 years, they've got enough time to do whatever rehabilitation programs that they really want
Mm,
to. And also, from my own knowledge, there's need for them to do, a lot of counter-terrorism measures. There's a need for them to collaborate globally. I don't know the level
mm,
of collaboration they have with some international organizations. There's a way they defeated ISIS, recently.
mm.
Nigeria can learn from that. There's
From
a
them,
ways
yeah.
they can learn from, the international community, how they waged that war. It wasn't easy, but at the end of the day, ISIS was, forcefully driven out and killed, and then at least the so-called caliphate, collapsed under heavy bombshell.
Attacks,
So
yeah.
they can do
Mm,
exactly the same to them and actually, have intelligence gathering and all that. So
mm,
I think we've done a lot to that topic.
mm,
Um, and we want to talk about education. And as we said in the beginning, you in your reflections you spoke about the literacy level that we compared Nigeria and South Africa from last week. Today we want to look more than just that literacy. We actually want to look into the quality of education
education.
that we really have in Nigeria, um, and try to look at reforms that can be done. And I would think that would be trying to compare our own experiences. I mean, going to, I'm sure we both had, first degree in Nigeria, and then we've also
Mm,
the other opportunity of studying it as well. We can make some level of comparison. Recently, the Australian government, they recognized that there's need to reform the educational system, and specifically, they came up with few key areas of key points.
mm,
One, they want to have highly qualified population that will be able to meet the demands of modern economy. So they want to have highly qualified population. One, And then we're not just having it for the fun of having it. There's a reason for that to be able to meet uh, demands of modern economy. And also, there's also the emphasis on what they call job ready courses that they really want people to go into education that will
Mm,
be able to get them job ready. And more specifically, they focus more on the vocational education and training, skills acquisition, TAFE, and all that, more than the higher education system. So, my question is, if you look back at your time in Nigeria and the level of education that we went through at the time, do you think that the level of the current education we have in Nigeria is actually responding to the needs of the society, one, and to the need around the economy? I mean, a modern economy that either we like it or not, that is the direction the world is going to.
mhm.
What do you think? It's a double barrel question. Do you think that the level, let's start from the level of education that our people in Nigeria get now. Is it really things that you think that will be able to meet the need of the society and also to meet the need of the economy?
All right. To start with, when we talk about the education's, you know, everything to do with education right now in Nigeria, and we compare it to when I did my first degree when I finished my first degree in 1994. All right,
Yeah.
and then I mean, it's you can't compare because then we still had the feel that okay, when we finish, we will get jobs. But now that is already into people that even when I finish this degree, it's not likely I'll be able to get jobs. So when I finish, I need to go and learn how to bake cakes so that I can start a business, right? Or I need to go and start learning how to sew so I can start a business. Because if I don't, what's going to happen? You know, we owe everything that we have to our parents and extended family. So the guilt of not able to provide and to be able to repay hits at people. All right. And you see people within your community, in your neighborhood, who finished university a few years back and they're still there. No jobs. They are there handing out their resumes almost every day. And you know that it's not likely I'm going to be able to get jobs, especially my father not being known, my father is not a politician, my father is unknown, then there's no. So going to school is just going to school to get the certificate. I've been to university, you know. So it's the reason why we did it when we did it was yes, I'm gonna be educated and I'm gonna get a good job and I'm gonna be, high up there.
Yeah.
And there was that. I mean, that was how many years ago now? That was a while back, right?
19, that was, yeah, 30,
1994 to
so that was 26
24
years
years
ago.
ago. Yeah.
26
So, I mean, 26 years ago.
years
So
ago, yeah.
that was a long time ago. And I mean, some of my colleagues, my friends, then they some of them are in politics, or some of them are, they are high up there,
Yeah.
lecturers in universities and all that. So it's been years. So they finish, they get jobs. They finish, they get jobs. But it's been years, and I mean years now, that people that finished, students that finished, couldn't get jobs. And you see those people that finished well ahead of you not getting jobs. That doesn't show, that doesn't give you hope. Not a single bit of hope that, okay, when
Yeah.
I finish this, I'm going to be able to get job and I'm going to be able to live well, which is a reason why you see majority of them going to learn one trade or another. And I remember you sharing with us that your niece was
Yep.
learning to, beauty. I mean, she's
Yep.
a student. She's
Yep. Yeah.
in
It is a four
in the fourth year
year
in a
40. Yep.
university. But and it's not just that. Over 70-80% of them are doing that. They are
Because
learning one
yeah,
trade or another because they know that the government doesn't care. There's no jobs, none at all. So all this studying that we are doing, all these certificates that we are all putting together, I'll share one thing with you. And before I do that, actually, I want to say this first. In 2017, I ran a seminar in a conference. I did a conference in Nigeria that I termed "Thinking Outside the Box."
okay.
Thinking outside the box, because I mean, I receive emails and messages almost every day from numerous Nigerian youth asking for one handout or the other. And I did the seminar, the conference then, that I had lots and lots of young people there to kind of open their eyes to, you don't need to be doing that. You don't need to be asking for handouts. There are things you can do. You have this, you can do this, you can do that. I did that then, and some of them took it on, and I see them now, they're doing well, right? But my point, what I wanted to also share is about what I saw over the weekend. There was this young lady who finished her first degree. She did chemistry. And then she went back and did masters. She couldn't get a job when she finished the first degree. She now went back and did a master's degree, and she did chemical something in, something in chemistry and whatever like that. And then she did all the certificate courses, American certificate courses, UK certificate courses, like IT certified courses. She had all that. She still couldn't get jobs. Do you know what she's now into?
Tell me.
What is Iru in English? Locust bean?
Look, locust bean. Yeah.
That's what she's doing now. You know how that thing smells?
So she now sells you ruled it.
Sells
Okay.
locust bean. But because
Yeah.
she's a chemist, she's done chemistry and all that,
Yeah.
she's now putting some of the skills that she learned then
Okay.
into it. I mean, she's taking it to, because some of the people that were ordering from her were from UK
Overseas.
and
Okay.
overseas. So they don't want the smelly ones that look like poo in the soup. They want it like in a cube,
Like
like when
okay,
you take out
okay, like the
Maggie,
okay Maggie cube.
and
Yeah.
use it.
Okay.
So she's done that, but she now
Okay.
needs money to be able to manufacture it in a big way,
Oh,
right?
in a big
I
way.
was
Okay.
quite impressed. I actually wanted her to join us today. I actually wanted
Okay.
to bring her on. I'm still waiting for her to respond to my
Okay.
messages.
So my question is this.
Yes.
And with all due respect to all the degrees and all the certification and everything that is got, if at the end of the day, and I saw a video some days ago as well, this comedian Wale Arole, there was one he did just to ask for support for one of his friends who is now selling, akara, like beef
Imagine.
cake at the roadside. That lady went to OAU. Um, she did law. I think she's not even, I think, from what you said, she had a second class offers. And then she went to the law school. She did very well. I think she made the same grade in the law school. But because of unemployment, she's selling akara just by the roadside. And so you are an entrepreneur and you promote, business ideas and entrepreneurial skills and what have you. What would you tell Nigerians? I know this might be controversial. Why do you want to go to university and get a first degree for depending on either 4 year or 5 year degree program, either you are in arts or in sciences, and then go again and do about 3 years doing masters or whatever. When you know and you look around you that it's a system that has failed people over and over again.
Over and over again. Yeah.
But in terms of what we know here, in terms of the vocational and educational training, if you call a plumber to your house to come and have a look for 5 minutes or whatever, you know how
They
much that is
charge you
going to
dollar
cost you.
fees.
They call, yeah, which is in some cases is,
Whether they know how to do the job or not, it's not about doing the job. It's just that you pick up your phone, you call them, they come to you, they charge you for actually coming to see what the problem is. Now, if you now fix the problem, that is another deal.
Absolutely. So my point is this, and and that is what I think is one of the most important things around that reforms. Why not reform the education system so that you and I know that I've worked with people that they don't have even a first degree, and I have masters in my area of work, and I work with people that don't even have first degree that are my bosses, you know, and they've got this diploma there, this there and there, and then they've got skills on a lot of skills on the job, and they can do their job very well, and they do what they need to do. So why can't we as a society de-emphasize that paper qualification and try and promote, like, people will go to uni and get their first degree and up to PhD if that is what they want to do, because we need people like that for the growth of any society. We need specialized skills and knowledge. But I also think that in the area of vocational education training, we are not doing enough to promote that concept. That is why people that ordinarily maybe they shouldn't even waste their time going to university. Maybe after secondary school they should have gone and learn a trade.
And learn something.
So,
exactly.
and learn something. So what will you tell an average young person in Nigeria looking at their options, knowing that the government is not really addressing some of those issues, but at the end of the day, people have to prepare for their own future. What will you tell them?
All right. I'll first of all share this. In 2016, I did another seminar in Nigeria. And one of the people that came, one of the young people that came that attended that seminar, during the lunch break, she came to me and asked for an advice. She'd already finished her first degree. As soon as she finished her first degree, she started a business. And her business was to go to banks, different banks, and get orders from them that, okay, I can help you to do shopping. Instead of you finishing a work and then going to the market to pick atarodo and tomato and onion, I can go and do your shopping for you and get it delivered to you, so that you can just carry your bag and your shopping and go home. You don't need to, that doesn't need to be part of what you have to do. I'll do that for you. Fresh, everything, I'll deliver it. And she was doing that business. By then, she had other 2 people working for her. What she now wanted advice from me for was that she'd already applied to University of Lagos to do masters in geography, and they've already accepted her. So she was at that point that
either to go for a master's and do geography,
do I go to uni and do my masters in geography? So I said to her, this is so clear. It is so clear. What do you need a masters in geography for? Because I want to just do my master's so that I can be so proud that I'm a master's degree holder. All right. And then what is, apart from being proud that you're a master's degree holder, what else do you want to have? I mean, what do you want to do this for? At the end of the day, you're looking for money. And what are you getting right now with the business you've just started that is already paying you and paying 2 staff members?
Money.
Yes. So why do you want to put this in a cooler and go and pursue something that you are hoping that when you finish will give you the same thing that you're already doing? Does it make sense for you to leave this and chase this? You have your first degree. Somebody should now accuse you of being an illiterate. That's their problem, not your problem. Now, that gets me
Yeah.
to the point that I want to actually bring out here.
Okay.
The problem that it is a general problem in our community, whereby we look down at people that haven't been to university. You know what I mean?
I know
We
what you
look
mean. Yeah.
down at them. And those that haven't been, even if they are making money, they still feel like there's something missing. They are not at par with their mates. They may be making money. I've seen them. I've spoken to them. And it's the same, they feel a little bit of, it's like they don't have self-confidence. Though they have everything that those that have been to uni are looking for, but they still want to prove that I'm not a dummy. I'm also a degree holder. So it's the ego in most Nigerians that keep on driving this thing about us having titles upon titles, which is why even when they now go, they don't give it 100% attention, because at the end of the day, what they want to do is to be able to show off to others. They know that there's no job really, but they could have made their jobs easier, their lives easier, by focusing their energy on what will get them what they need, what they are actually looking for. All right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But my thing and my theory of what I've actually been sharing is that, okay, and I wrote it in one of my books, actually, in Claim the Land. It's
Okay.
there that, growing up, remember the song that we used to sing in nursery school, in primary school, Batari Aduko Ko.
Kokoka. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is a way that they've actually they've it's like they've made us to believe that if you don't have a degree, if you are not educated, you are not good enough. So those people who have, one learning difficulty or the other, those that have dyslexia, they struggle.
Yeah.
They still push and push and push.
We don't recognize that. They don't recognize
Exactly.
intellectual disability or
Yeah.
dyslexia or whatever. They don't recognize that. They just feel that Olodoni is just
And the
too
teacher will be
dull.
beating this child, like
Yeah.
crazy. And the other students will be making fun of this child. And you just see this person just banging their head on the wall, because they want to make other people happy. They want to show that they also they have achieved something. But we need to change it's a mindset change at the end of the day.
Yep.
I'll share this with you. I have a friend of mine who lives in Melbourne here. She went to law school in Tasmania. She did law. She practiced law for 17 years. But law wasn't what she had always wanted to do. So it got to a point that she asked herself the question, life is too short. Why am I doing this? Going to work, I was having palpitations. Going to work every day, 17 years. She asked herself the question, why am I doing this? What are the things that gives me joy? What can I do that I will keep having that joy, waking up every day? She's a cosmetic, what do you call them now?
Makeup artist? Makeup artist.
Thank you. Makeup artist.
Yeah.
She's a makeup artist now. and she's got her own makeup empire. You know, she's got her own brand,
Brand. Yep.
full brand.
Well,
She's got
brand.
everything, you know, and that's what I'm talking. She's a lawyer, but she left it to pursue what gives her joy, and she's
It.
happy doing that.
You know
It's a
what?
mindset
Is
change.
Yeah, is as I said, you made a lot of valid points, which I've noted. One of there should be that paradigm shift in the way people, the way they think. You made with examples you gave around the need for people to think outside the box, to be able to contextualize everything within our environment,
Definitely.
um, and also part of it of being more aware about our environment is for the need for people to really know, not trying to downplay the significance of any degree, but people to actually ask themselves, what am I going to do with this degree? I did agree economics for my first degree in Nigeria. And then I remember many of us in agricultural economics class, because I went to a specialized University of Agriculture. So they used to joke we're like the medical students on
Mm.
campus there, because it was a University of Agriculture. So many of us in agri-economics, we were like up there, in terms of, we used to joke like we're the medical students of like a normal university. Um, but towards the end of the degree, we're thinking about what do you want to do. I 100% half of those people that I went through that agri economics and some in agri and rural development, they didn't want to work in the agri. We're all thinking of we're going to work in a bank. We want to do this and all that. Not all that things, but actually working in that area of
Yeah.
agriculture. Um,
Mm.
but so people also need to start part of that thinking about reform in terms of the government providing reforms around what form of education is going to meet the need of this the modern economy. In some countries, they're talking around STEM subjects, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. They're promoting a lot of that as the basis for future employment and productivity.
Mm.
That doesn't mean that people are not going to do law or do social sciences or humanities, but they just putting a lot of emphasis on that. And in a country like ours, people need to really ask themselves, important questions around what am I going to do with this degree? And because there are a lot of
Exactly.
degrees they offer in our universities these days, that honestly you think, what do you really want to do with this
Exactly.
in present day Nigeria? People, the reform needs to come from the government in making that
Exactly.
vocational sector more, I guess, uh, more attractive to people. But at individual level, people also need to fundamentally ask themselves what do they really want to do with whatever degree
That
they've
they're
got.
doing.
Yeah,
And when we talk about the reform starting from the government, it has to be done by the government. Now, I mean, I know lots and lots of medical doctors, right? That when they did their degree, medical degrees in Nigeria, their elective subjects were history or CRS, not accounting, not business management. What do they need history and CRS or whatever for? Because these people, they finish their degree and some of them do establish their own businesses.
yeah,
So when
businesses.
they
Yep.
establish their own businesses, they should be able to know how to manage their businesses. They should be able to know how to do their accounting, not just the clinical work. But you're now making them, enforcing them to go and be doing history, to go and be doing CRS, Christian religious, whatever. What are they going to use that for? What are they going to use that for? So, I mean, everything we do should be logical. The government need to be more, driven to want this to happen. But when we don't put the round peg in the round hole, what are we going to get?
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, and even there are instances where we've been able to have highly qualified people with advanced degrees from some of the best, countries in the world. It's as if there's a problem. Once they get to that Nigerian soil or the whatever position, they forget everything they are used to in this part of the world, that logical, critical, analytical way of doing things. Is as if that
Exactly.
all those they're just out of the window. They just adjust to Nigerian way of doing things immediately, and it's quite sad. Um, so moving on education, we've summarized that the reforms and the mindsets government needs to do their own, but also
Mm,
in terms of our mindset of our people also need to really take a good look at themselves and really know what they really want to do and
mm,
to seek counseling around people that know better. I know it's a big ask when you ask, like many of us, 18 years old, you finish high school, you want to go to university, and then the society is telling you to pick a program that you're going to do for the rest of your life. That's what the society tells us. And for an 18-year-old, it's just too much to really to make
mm,
that kind of
that's,
decision. So you really
mm.
make that decision. We still need people to guide and provide some kind of counseling and guidance. To at least, I did agricultural economics. Later in life, I do criminology, and I sometimes I think what is going on there. It's just, you know,
But I believe it's about. I mean, when you were in Nigeria, you did what you can, and when you
yeah,
moved here, you looked at what is available, okay,
yeah,
and where you can fit in,
yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is one of the things that I advise people that do come to me for advice. That if you go for just anything, business administration, for instance, almost everybody else here, they don't even need to go to uni. They don't need to go to TAFE. When they finish high school, they can get into one company and they get trained from there on and
Yeah.
become manager as time goes
No,
on.
just about the
So
way.
if you now waste your time going to university to study masters in business administration, who are you going to be competing with? That is why you've got to be logical.
Very logical and analytical. I know what really works for you, and not
Exactly.
to try and make decisions based on what has worked for some people. So
Mm.
moving on, how are we doing with time? This is
Yeah,
I'm
I think we should be rounding up,
still
and
you rounding up.
Yemi has
Okay,
been trying to to connect. I don't know what is going on.
not
It's
okay.
telling me that your guests will need to connect their mic and camera before you can add them to the stream. So I've not been able to add him. He's I think he's watching us actually,
Oh
but we
wow,
can't see him because maybe where he is, the connection is not strong.
it's not strong.
Yeah, because if
That's a
he can't be
shame.
here, that means it worked for him, but the connection might not be as strong. So I'm not sure what we can do for next time.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
rounding up, I've got something for you.
Mm,
I know this will interest you.
mm,
I'll give you some numbers. I'm looking at, black billionaires because I
yes.
know you talk with business people, you talk
Mm,
with entrepreneurs, and that is your global mindset. So
yeah.
today I just want to go through a list of black billionaires. And when we talk
Mm,
about black billionaires, we're talking about individuals of African ancestry
yeah.
with a net worth of at least 1
Mm,
billion US dollars. So
billion.
we're not there. Well, yeah. So they are black billionaires, and we're not talking. With all due respect to all African billionaires in other currencies, like in naira or in
Mm,
other. We're not really talking about them. We're talking about people that are net worth is in 1 billion US dollar and over. So
mm.
it's according to the Forbes rich list, which is quite interesting. In that category, we have 13. We have
Wow.
13 people on that list as we speak. Um, and importantly to me, we're just trying to bring us something good about Nigeria, despite all its problems, despite all its issues. So the number one person on that list is currently a Nigerian, Aliko Dangote, with an estimated $10.6 billion. That is what his current worth, 10.6 billion US dollar. That is Aliko Dangote's worth. In the second position is Mike Adenuga, another global businessman and a Nigerian. Is number two on that list. He currently worth 9.1 billion US dollar.
Wow.
And with all due respect, I'm only focusing on Nigerians and Africa. So on
Mm,
that list, I said there are 13 names on that list. So on
mm.
number five on that list is Abud Samad Rabiu.
Where is it
Um,
from?
he's from Nigeria. Is
Wow.
Yeah, if you remember, there was an industrialist in the 70s, Alaji Isiaku Rabiu. He was
Mm,
an industrialist in the 70s from Kano. I think, yeah, 100% Isiaku Rabiu, yeah. It was from Kano. So
mm.
that Abud Samad is a son of Isiaku Rabiu. So he is currently worth 3.2 billion US dollars. He's number five on that list. And just out of respect for Opera is number six on that
Wow.
list. With
Mm,
estimated worth $2.7 billion. And number 11 on that list is the Nigerian Mrs. Folorunsho
okay,
Alakija,
Alakija.
Alakija with current worth of $1.1 billion. Also worth noting is that there are two other Africans on that list. There is Strive Masiyiwa, who is from Zimbabwe, is number seven on that list.
Mm,
Strive currently is number seven, and it was $2.4 billion.
mm.
And number eight on that list is Patrice Motsepe from South Africa.
Okay.
Um, so the reason why I've come up with this is one, to show that out of 13 names, Nigeria is number one, Nigeria is number two, there's a
Two,
Nigeria in number five,
three,
and there's a Nigeria in number 11. So we have four.
four.
We have four Nigerians out of 13 people that are classified as black billionaires. So for me, the take home message for me is that despite all the problems, despite all the issues in Nigeria, the country still has the capacity to produce 4 billionaires at a global stage. And
Yeah.
to me, I'm looking at in terms of the economic opportunities and future and potential opportunities and untapped potential opportunities that are in Nigeria. That if you get it right, if we can have four out of 13 that are currently in Nigeria, despite all the problems, I'm sure
Mm,
if we get it right as a nation, then it's not just having the potential of becoming a great nation, but definitely we're going to become one of the most powerful and
powerful
one of the most
nations.
strongest economy in
Mm,
the world if we put our house in order. I just thought I should share that with you. One,
thank
because
you so much for that.
yeah,
And with that, there's hope, there is hope. If these people, four, out of the four, one actually inherited his own from his father, the number five,
yeah, Abu Samadi Rabiu.
Rabiu. Okay, he inherited it. These others probably they worked out for their money, right? So if these guys can do it, it's hope for all of us that yes, we also can. We just need to get our priorities right, and we need to actually start doing things differently from how we've been doing it.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's there are few. I mean, the more you get started talking about Nigeria, cases and issues, it's like onions. When you peel onion and it never stops. You just keep there's just more to
Different
or to
layers.
unwrap.
Yeah.
So it's layers, and as you do one, it's like it opens door to the next and another door to. So with what we've talked about today, education, I mean, it's like we just scrape the surface, right? Security, we just did a little bit. I
Yeah.
mean, we will still keep talking about them, but there are other things that I would like us to explore next week.
Okay.
And
So
put it
what specific area do you have in mind?
okay. For example, we have our president and we have the vice president. When those two came together, we thought we were getting a real change, right?
Yeah.
What to do when you come together or collaborate with someone with the pain that this is what we're going to do. If it's not happening, what do you do? So the case in mind for me is the case of what's his name? The vice president?
Professor Yemi Oshibajo.
Yoshibajo, right? Him and his beliefs and the trust that people have in him to be there and be quiet with all the things that have been going wrong in that country. I want us to explore that, what goes on in
Okay.
people's minds.
Okay.
On
When
top
they
of,
get to position
yeah,
of
when they,
power
exactly,
and they're able to reconcile their values, beliefs, the realities around
around them.
government and around
Mm.
them. Okay.
So
Okay.
I would like us to, apart from, I mean, yes, we've done the education and security. We'll still pick another two to explore. But on
Yep.
top of it, I want us to actually do that also
I
next.
think it's a very good one. It's more about getting into the psychology of governance.
Mm,
It's more about psychology of governance. Why do people present in a certain way, and they've done so well in
exactly.
their
Why would
chosen
you allow
career,
yourself to be tainted?
and then they get into government, and then everything they work for, everything that they represent, that people really know them for, is like just gradually fading away. Is
Fading
yeah,
away.
it's a
Yeah.
very good one.
Because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, it's about your legacy, right? It's your legacy. What kind of legacy are you living? You've lived
exactly.
so well, and then why would you? It's like when you start, playing around with the pigs. What's going to happen to you?
Yeah.
If you have the
I,
belief that I can change these pigs, I can make them to behave, and you're there, and it's not happening, what do you do?
So I will leave you on that. We leave on that note.
We leave on that note, and
Will
you are doing this again next week. You've done so well.
oh, okay, thank you. So I can graduate from L to P next week, hopefully.
Exactly. So that's why I just wanted you to know that's the line of my thought about,
Yeah,
okay,
no, no, thank
what's
you, thank you for that.
next?
I know, I know, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's good to refer the seat and put you, it's good to sit here asking you all the questions, and
exactly.
and it's good to.
I love being on this side, you know.
And, yeah, and I can see you really enjoyed that side as well, because you can really express some of your
Exactly.
thoughts and everything that, if we
Mm,
were to have the reverse, you just moderate our discussions. And it's good for me
exactly.
to listen to you
And
as well, and
yeah,
some
and
of
I
your
think
perspectives.
we will be doing that. When Badayemi can join us,
Okay.
we will get into. So
So to
we will
yeah,
share the hot seats. So that
that, that's good. That's good.
yeah, and also we will need to bring in some guest panelists. on. So let's think about maybe one or two. I know of a lady who lives in United Kingdom. Well, she's also hot when it comes to politics in Nigeria.
Okay,
Her
that's
name
fine.
is something Awolowo.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will bring her onto the group. If she says yes, if she doesn't, we'll take her off and bring somebody else on.
Okay.
But
Is that
we'll do that
okay?
over
Is
the
that
week.
Yabo
Yeah.
Awolowo? Miriam
Yeah,
Yabo Awolowo. Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
I know
So
her. Okay.
if you
Okay.
know her, invite her
Uh,
to come along, and then
I will
let's.
explore if she's available for next week,
Mhm.
and depending
It's,
on
it's fine.
the time difference and all that. But I can explore
It
that with
should be
her.
okay. It should be okay, unless if she's at work. Because
Okay,
I
as
think
well.
it's during the daytime for them now. So unless if she's at work, but should
Okay.
be okay. Yeah.
I will explore that with her.
Yeah, and maybe one more person. Let's the more the merrier. I mean, we're rubbing minds together. We're,
Yeah,
mm.
absolutely.
Thank
Okay,
you so much. It's been
on
great
this note, we want to come to the end of another
today.
episode of the Nigeria we want. So
Mm.
we'll be back next Tuesday to continue with insightful, conversation around how to make Nigeria a better country. So
Okay.
thanks everyone for joining us tonight, and thanks Dr. Vicky. We see you all on
Thank
Tuesday.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
Bye
Bye
bye.
for
Yeah.